Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so we are going to talk about HTML inline element versus block element as well as the box model. Okay,
Yeah.
so very quick, let me try to draw it again. So what happens, like every element in HTML are two types, either block element, right, or inline
Yes.
element. Inline element like text. So what happens, like whenever you put in block element, so look at here, even if you have space, let me delete this guy. Even if you have a space on the here, but block element always come in a new line, no matter what, right? So all comes
Yes.
vertically. It's a by default nature of the block element. So these all are block elements. It could be, let's say, div. It could be, let's say, image. It could be p tag, right? Let's say ULLI. These are block element. Now, the, the inline element, let me delete this or move it here. So inline element, let's say text. Whenever you add any inline element and whenever you add a new one, it always come in the same line, no matter what. So this is a property of
Inline.
inline element. See, inline element are like text, span, text is nothing, right? Label, all are inline elements. So whenever you draw this, use this, it comes in a line. So these all are inline element.
Inline.
So this is block element. Okay,
Yes.
block elements. These are inline elements. Now let me quickly now let's test it. Test.html. So this is my HTML body, right? Now what I will do is I will quickly open in the Chrome browser. I can directly load it here. So this is my HTML. I have nothing, right? So I will start with the block element. So look at here. Div is the block element.
Yes.
Block element 1, right? P is also block element. Block element as div. Block element as P, right? Similarly, let's say UL. If you see, if I save it and refresh it here, so can you see this automatically broke into new line, right?
Yes.
So that's why these are called block element. So by default, if you see, I did not apply any CSS, pure HTML, right? And it broke into new
Yes.
line. Why? Because these all are block level element. Okay.
Yes.
So now let's quickly learn about the. Let me rename this guy block element. Inline element. Now let's test the inline element. Span. This is inline element 1, right? Now this is my label. This is inline element 2. Now look at here. We have, look at this guy. See, all came in one line, right? So now you understand the difference between inline element versus block element.
Block. Yes.
So now what happened is, now let's say, hey, you know what? You don't want this all come into the two lines, multiple lines. So you do want to change the behavior. To change the behavior, you have to use the CSS. Okay. So let's say, I am trying to write inline CSS. Okay. So here I'm saying display property inline. So what I'm saying is, I'm asking my CSS, hey, change the property of this guy. So instead of making the block element, I'm saying make it inline element. So let's see. So if you see, I applied on these two, right? Block element as div and block element as p. So when I use display equal to inline, now because of my this CSS property, browser change the behavior. Now this both render into the one line. Okay, but this is one way to do that. There are many ways to do the same thing. Now let's see if I apply same. I think UL will not work. First here and then here. See, all came in the one line. But this is not the only way. There are like 100 ways to do the same thing. Okay, so
Yes.
the other approach is you divide your screen. So what you do is, let's say this is your entire screen. So what you do is you divide into three. So you divide your line. So what you do is, um, let me try to. So what you will do is you divide your uh, screen into three parts, and in each three parts you keep it here. So this is second way you can put your block element in one line,
Yes.
right? So see what I did. So this was a line. So I divide into three and put each each block into these three groups, right? So this forced to render in one line. So now let me try. So what I'm saying is, I'm saying parent. So my first I should have parent. So parent width is 100%, right? And now I have child. Width is, let's say, 33%. Now what I will do is, I have to first create a block. Remember, this is the bigger block, right?
Yes.
And inside it, in the bigger block, I divide it into three groups. In
Three.
each groups, I put one element.
One.
So, so here div. Now I have to create this. So first here I will say class equal to parent, and here I will say class equal to child, right? And
Yes.
so what I did is, so the first block I divided into three groups. Now in each group, I will take these all block element and put into these individuals, right? So what I did, I have parent and I have three childs, and I added the width 33 percentage, right? Now let's see. So if you see, something must have happened and still it shows a new line, right?
Yes.
Because I think I have to apply root left. Yeah. So what, see, just assigning 33% doesn't help. You have to tell each block float left. So if you see, all came into the one line,
One.
right? This is second way to do that.
Yes.
Now going back to inline. So inline, if you see, all are in one line. But if you want to divide
Yes.
into two lines, what you will do is, so I'm just writing a CSS class and we'll say display block. Why? Because I want this all should be displaying multiple lines. So I will say block. See, came to two lines.
Yes.
So this is the difference between HTML element as a default, either block type or inline element type. Then you can use CSS to change the behavior. Okay, good.
Yes. Yes.
Now let's try to understand the box model. Okay, so let me delete everything. Okay, so first thing first, the coordinate system. See, generally you read about like this. This is y coordinate,
And
right?
X.
This is x coordinate. But computer science works a little differently. Computer science says change it like this. So look at here. So computer science is changed like this. Okay.
Yes. X coordinate upper and lower coordinate.
Great. So anyway, but you do have third coordinate as well, which is your G index. The three-dimensional. Let me try to move it here. Right? G index. So generally what you have is X, Y and G index. Right? So basically you try to mimic this. So this is your X, this is your Y and this is your Z. Right? You see it? So technically every HTML element, it's two-dimensional, but you have this G index as well. So you can actually layer two. Let's say I have one. So what I'm trying to explain is, let's say you have one rectangle here. So this is, let's say, your first div, right? And then you have, let me change the color as well. So this blue, and you have a second one. Mm, okay. Now, when you have two elements and you're trying to put on each other, so if you see the div one is in the bottom, right? And div two is in the top, right? But let's say you want different. You want div two, I mean, you want div one to be in the, so here I can say go to back, right? So here what happened is div one come in the top and div two came in the bottom, right? In CSS, we control this by this G index. So with G index, you can say, hey, go up or go down. Okay, so that's G index. Second thing is, so every element, let's say this element, right? Let me remove the fill. So every element, if you see, you have few things. So this, look at this line, right? I can increase the width. So look at here. Now, what you have is the width, the line width, right? So if you see carefully, when you have more line width, so the inner content is reduced, right?
Yes.
So now let's say I have one more. So what happened is this distance, I'm talking about distance between this. I mean this distance, right? This distance, this distance, this distance, this distance. So in terms of this guy, we call it, this is margin. Okay? This space is called margin. Margin for inner box. Right? In the same
Yes.
distance, the same gap, we call it padding for outer box. Right?
Yes.
Now let's test it. Okay. So what I have is one div, and I'm saying div 1 is div 2, right? Right, this is the div 1 and div 2.
Yes.
Now let's apply the class. Div 1, div 2, and here I'm saying div 1, let's say I'm saying width 200 pixel, height 200 pixel, okay, and this one, so this we call it border. See the border, okay. See you have border, I think border something type here. Border style solid border with let's say 2 pixel. Let's first test it. If you see what happened, right? On the div I got this height and width because I kept 200 200, and border width is 2 pixel, and the style is solid. See, if I remove the border style, you will see nothing. Why? It does has height and width, but you have to define the style, then only you can see it. Anyway, so this one, look at the border. I can say let's say 12 pixel. Now look at the border, right?
Increase size.
Increasing, right? Including that. Now look at this div. Div is a text, right? Now I do want my div and this border should have some gap. So when I remember what I said, when you're talking about gap for inside, it means we are talking about the padding, right? So here I will say padding, let's say 20 pixel,
Zero.
right? So now if I refresh, so look at here, padding got added, right? Now this got a space, right? Can you see it? This is called padding. Now margin is for outer space. Now if you look at here, can you see? Now space
Left
between
side
this
space.
outer outer side I added the space, but inner side there's no space because I removed the padding. And if I say padding again 20 pixel, so now I will have both outer and the inner. See, I still have this outer, right, and got inner as well. So inner is padding, outer is margin, right? Now what I will do is this div 2, let me put inside the div 1, right? Now if you see, this div 2 is inside the div 1. Now let's apply some styles. So I'm not going to put margin or bottom first. Simply change this guy. You see this, right?
Yes. And
Because
then
this is
one
inside.
box.
Now because we do have padding, that's why we have this gap. Now if I want some margin here, so with margin what I'm saying is, hey, outside of this box add the 20 pixel. So look at here. Now 20 pixel got added, right? Now this box as well has padding, and this box as well has a margin. So 20 pixel from the top and 20 pixel for this margin become 40 pixel of gap, right?
Yes.
Now for quick testing, let's say background color, I will say red. This I will say blue, right? Now refresh. So if you see, the div 2 is on the top, right? Div 1 is in the bottom. So this is the default behavior. Now if I want to change the behavior, I want div 2 should be in the bottom, right? So here we call G index. So if I want this should be on the top, so I should have higher G index. And I want this should be in the bottom, I should have lower G index, right? Now look at here. See, with 1 and 2 didn't work a lot. So what I will do is, let's put higher. Because for div 1 we want to display on the, you know what? See, to test this, let me, see, because this is a parent-child relationship, right? So of course this is not going to work. So let me first make it like individual slide. So look at here, this is individual, right? So what I will do is, I'm saying left is 0. Now I'm positioning it. Top is 0. And here as well, left is 0. Top is 0. Position solid. So this is, I want to position it, as per my own choice. So look at here what happened. I said, hey, both go at the 0, 0 position, right? But if you see, the div 2 is hidden. Why? Because div 1 shows before the div 2. So now if I want div 2 should shown before, so what I will say is, for this one I will say 0, and for this one, which is my blue, I will say 1. So if you see, I gave higher G index. So here 0 is 1. So, let me put it more. Let's see what's going on. Come on. Sometimes it's very difficult to select. Okay. This is div 1. And if you see the div 2, right? So this div 2 is here. But, oh, because of this guy. See, because my position was incorrect CSS, that's why. So position should be absolute. Okay, now let's try. So if you see, div 2 came at the top, right? And if I want reverse, see, now div 2 came at the bottom. So with the G index, you can control, hey, which one should come top, which one should come at the bottom. right? And
Yes.
remember the position. If I remove the position, look for this guy. So if you don't apply your own position, so what happens is browser order it themselves. Now position is, hey, where you want to position. So there are so many positions. One is like absolute. So when you give absolute, so everything come here. Now you have to specify from top how much should be the distance. From the left how much should be the different distance. So you can read more about their multiple types of position. Most used are three things. Absolute, where you say absolute and then say, hey, how much is the fixed, how much is the distance, like top how much, left how much. Then second is fixed, so no matter what you fix it. And third is relative, so by default is relative. So right now this is relative, first come the second key. Okay,
Yes.
so let me do it. See, I position it on the left. Okay, that's it.